Most people grow up believing that hard work is the key to wealth. They are taught that if they work longer hours, sacrifice more, and stay disciplined, success will eventually arrive. But for most people, it never does. Not because they are lazy, not because they are unintelligent, but because effort alone has never been the formula for wealth. Hard work creates movement. Wealth requires direction. Around the world, millions of people wake up early every day. They commute long hours. They give their energy to companies, systems, and structures they do not own. At the end of the month, they receive income, and then they start over again. This cycle feels productive, but it is also limiting. The wealthy understand a simple truth early in life. Effort without leverage traps you in time. If every dollar you earn requires your presence, your income will always be limited by hours. This is why two people can work equally hard, yet live completely different financial lives. One trades time for money, the other builds assets that work in time. The difference is not effort. The difference is structure. Most people are trained to focus on activity. They measure success by how busy they are. The wealthy measure success by what continues to work without them. This is uncomfortable to accept because it means many years of hard work may not have been building wealth at all. They may have only been sustaining survival. Hard work feels noble. It feels honest. It feels safe. But safety is often the enemy of growth. Wealth demands a different mindset. It demands patience when others demand speed. It demands restraint when others seek comfort. The illusion of hard work keeps people distracted, busy but not progressing, exhausted but not free. The wealthy are not afraid of work. They are afraid of dependency. They ask different questions. Instead of asking, "How much does this pay?" they ask, "What does this build over time?" Instead of asking, "How many hours will this take?" they ask, "How long will this last?" Instead of asking, "Is this safe?" they ask, "Does this compound?" Compounding is invisible at first. That is why most people ignore it. But time rewards what is patient and structured. This is why wealth often looks boring in the beginning. Quiet, unimpressive. While others are chasing quick rewards, the foundation is being laid. And foundations are never glamorous. If you want a different financial future, you must first question the rules you were taught. Not all advice is wrong, but much of it was designed for survival, not freedom. This channel exists to challenge those rules, not with noise, not with hype, but with timeless principles that have guided wealth for centuries. Because real wealth does not shout, it whispers. And those who listen carefully build lives that others only dream about. This is the beginning of that understanding. Most people believe that time is something to be spent. The wealthy understand that time is something to be invested. This single difference changes everything. When you trade time for money, you create income. But when you invest time into systems, you create leverage. Leverage is what allows effort to multiply. Without it, progress remains linear. With it, progress becomes exponential. This is why patience is rare, and why wealth is even rarer. Most people want results now. They want proof before commitment. They want certainty before action. But time does not reward urgency. It rewards consistency. The wealthy are willing to wait because they understand how compounding works. Compounding is slow, so slow that it feels useless at first. In the beginning, nothing seems to change. The effort looks wasted, the results look invisible. This is where most people quit. They mistake silence for failure. They mistake slow growth for no growth. But beneath the surface, structure is forming. Roots grow before trees rise. Foundations are laid before buildings appear. Wealth follows the same law. Those who understand time are never in a hurry. They are calm while others rush, focused while others chase, patient while others panic. Time punishes impatience. It exposes weak structures. It destroys shortcuts, but it rewards discipline. It protects systems. It magnifies consistency. This is why the wealthy avoid fast money, because fast money rarely lasts. Speed feels exciting, but excitement fades. What remains is structure. When something grows slowly, it becomes strong. When something grows fast, it becomes fragile. This applies to wealth, to businesses, and to people. The wealthy design their lives so that time works for them, not against them. They build once and allow repetition to create results. They understand that a small advantage, applied consistently over many years, creates an overwhelming outcome. This is why decades matter more than days. A single year rarely changes everything, but 10 years almost always do. The problem is that most people cannot see 10 years ahead. They live inside the present moment, reacting, responding, surviving. The wealthy step outside the moment. They plan beyond emotion. They act beyond impulse. They sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term freedom, not because they enjoy sacrifice, but because they understand exchange. Every decision trades one future for another. The question is not, will you pay a price? The question is, which future are you buying? Time never stops. It never waits. It never negotiates. It simply amplifies whatever you build. If you build nothing, it amplifies regret. If you build systems, it amplifies freedom. This is why wealth looks inevitable in hindsight, but uncertain in the beginning. Those who succeed did not know the outcome. They trusted the process. They respected time. They committed before proof appeared. This is the quiet advantage of the wealthy. They do not rush time. They align with it. And over years, time reveals the difference. Most people believe motivation is the key to success. The wealthy know that motivation is unreliable. Motivation rises and falls. Systems remain. When motivation disappears, most people stop. When systems are in place, progress continues. This is why discipline alone is not enough. Discipline still depends on will, and will is fragile. The wealthy remove emotion from execution. They do not ask how they feel today. They ask what the system requires. Systems turn intention into consistency. They turn effort into repetition. They turn chaos into structure. Most people wait to feel ready. The wealthy prepare, so readiness is irrelevant. A system does not need enthusiasm. It needs clarity. This is why wealthy people build routines, processes, and environments that support progress. They design their surroundings to make the right actions automatic and the wrong actions difficult. Most people try to change themselves. The wealthy change their environment. They understand that behavior follows structure. If your environment rewards distraction, you will become distracted. If your environment rewards focus, you will become focused. Motivation cannot compete with design. This applies to money, to habits, and to life. The wealthy do not rely on inspiration. They rely on repetition. They know that small actions done consistently outperform intense effort done occasionally. This is uncomfortable for most people because systems feel boring. They lack excitement. They lack drama. But drama does not build wealth. Consistency does. This is why many people start strong and finish nowhere. They begin with energy but no structure. When energy fades, so does progress. The wealthy begin with structure. Energy becomes optional. They commit to processes long before results appear. They automate decisions. They simplify choices. They reduce friction. Every decision removed is energy preserved. Every habit automated is freedom gained. Over time, systems compound quietly. What looks ordinary becomes extraordinary. This is why wealthy people protect their routines. They protect their time. They protect their focus. Not because they are rigid, but because they understand cost. Every distraction has a price. Every interruption delays compounding. Systems create momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence attracts opportunity. Motivation chases results. Systems create them. If you want lasting wealth, stop asking how to stay motivated. Ask how to build systems that work even when you are tired, distracted, or uncertain. Because real wealth is not built on your best days. It is built on ordinary days repeated over many years. This is the quiet power of systems, and those who understand it never rely on motivation again. Most people believe income is the goal. The wealthy know that ownership is the destination. Income feels productive. Ownership creates freedom. When you depend on income alone, your life depends on permission. Permission to work, permission to earn, permission to continue. Ownership removes permission. The wealthy do not ask how much they can earn. They ask what they can own. Because income stops when effort stops. Ownership continues. This is why two people with the same income can live completely different lives. One spends what they earn. The other uses income to acquire assets. Assets are not always obvious. They are systems, equity, intellectual property, and structures that produce value without constant input. Ownership shifts the relationship with time. When you own nothing, time works against you. When you own assets, time works for you. Most people are trained to seek security, a stable job, a predictable paycheck. But predictability is not the same as freedom. Security depends on systems you do not control. Ownership creates systems you do. The wealthy understand that risk is not in ownership. Risk is in dependency. Depending on a single income source is fragile. Depending on your time is limiting. Ownership diversifies risk. It spreads effort across time and scale. This is why the wealthy are patient buyers. They are not chasing quick returns. They are building positions. They understand that small ownership, acquired consistently, creates massive leverage over years. Ownership changes behavior. When you own something, you think long-term. You protect it. You improve it. You compound it. Income thinking is short-term. It asks, what can I get now? Ownership thinking asks, what will this become? Most people consume first and invest later. The wealthy invest first and consume what remains. This is not sacrifice, it is priority. Ownership delays gratification, but multiplies outcomes. This is why wealth often looks invisible. Because ownership is quiet, you cannot see equity growing. You cannot feel compounding day to day. But over time, the difference becomes undeniable. Income pays bills. Ownership builds legacy. Income maintains lifestyle. Ownership creates options. This is the line most people never cross, not because they cannot, but because they never shift perspective. They confuse earning with building. The wealthy understand that earning is temporary, building is permanent. If you want to change your financial future, do not ask how to increase income. Ask how to convert income into ownership. Because wealth is not what you earn. It is what you keep, control, and allow to grow over time. This is the silent advantage of ownership. And once you understand it, income alone will never feel enough again. Wealth is not a number. It is an identity. Most people believe wealth arrives after success. The wealthy understand that wealth begins with self-concept. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. This is why income changes often fail, because behavior always returns to identity. The wealthy think differently before they earn differently. They do not see money as validation. They see it as a tool. They do not chase wealth to feel worthy. They build worth first, and wealth follows naturally. Identity shapes decisions. Decisions shape habits. Habits shape outcomes. Most people ask, what should I do to get rich? The wealthy ask, who must I become to sustain wealth? Because money without identity creates anxiety, but money aligned with identity creates calm. Wealthy identity is quiet. It does not need to prove itself. It chooses growth over appearance, substance over status, long-term thinking over short-term pleasure. This is why many people earn more, yet feel poorer. Their identity has not evolved. They upgrade lifestyle, but not mindset. The wealthy upgrade thinking first. They see opportunities where others see risk. They see systems where others see effort. They see time as an ally, not an enemy. Wealth identity understands delay. It does not panic during slow progress. It trusts compounding. It respects process. Most people quit because results are invisible. The wealthy persist because they understand invisibility precedes inevitability. Identity changes how you respond to pressure. Under stress, most people seek comfort. The wealthy seek clarity. They do not ask, how do I feel right now? They ask, what is the intelligent move? Wealth identity removes emotion from money. It replaces impulse with intention. This is why discipline feels natural to the wealthy. It is not force. It is alignment. When identity shifts, behavior follows effortlessly. You no longer need motivation. You operate from principle. Wealth identity is not arrogance. It is responsibility. Responsibility to protect capital. Responsibility to grow value. Responsibility to think beyond self. This is why wealth lasts generations when identity is transferred, not just money. Money can be lost. Identity can be rebuilt. But money without identity will always disappear. If you want wealth that stays, do not focus on numbers. Focus on who you are becoming. Because the most powerful asset you will ever own is not money, not property, not business. It is the identity that knows how to create them again. This is the foundation of lasting wealth. And once identity changes, wealth becomes inevitable. The wealthy are never in a hurry. They move with intention, not urgency. Urgency is a signal of fear. Patience is a signal of control. Most people rush because they feel behind. The wealthy move slowly because they are ahead in thinking. They understand that time is not the enemy. Emotion is. Haste creates mistakes. Calm creates leverage. The wealthy do not confuse speed with progress. They know that moving fast in the wrong direction only increases distance from the goal. Urgency demands immediate results. Wealth respects delayed outcomes. This is why most people abandon good plans. Not because the plan failed, but because results did not arrive fast enough. The wealthy trust processes that work, even when results are invisible. They understand that compounding is silent. Nothing seems to happen until everything changes. Urgency seeks certainty. Patience builds inevitability. The wealthy are comfortable waiting because they are not dependent on instant feedback. They have positioned themselves so time works in their favor. When opportunities appear, they are ready, not rushed, not emotional, prepared. This is why the wealthy act decisively, not impulsively. Decisive action is calm. Impulsive action is loud. Urgency reacts. Wealth anticipates. The wealthy plan years ahead, but execute daily with discipline. They understand that small, consistent actions outperform dramatic efforts. Urgency chases shortcuts. Wealth builds foundations. Shortcuts collapse. Foundations compound. This is why the wealthy rarely panic during downturns. They have seen cycles before. They know that time exposes weakness but rewards structure. The wealthy use urgency strategically, never emotionally. They move fast only when preparation is complete. Most people wait for motivation. The wealthy rely on systems. Systems remove pressure. Pressure creates mistakes. Time favors those who are positioned, not those who are rushing. If you feel constant urgency, it is a signal. Not that you are late, but that your system is incomplete. Build systems. Build buffers. Build patience. Because wealth is not built by speed, it is built by direction. And direction, held long enough, always beats urgency. The wealthy do not rely on motivation. They rely on systems. Motivation is emotional. Systems are structural. Emotion fluctuates. Structure remains. Most people wait until they feel ready. The wealthy act because the system requires it. They do not ask, do I feel like doing this today? They ask, what does the system demand? This is why consistency separates outcomes. Motivation fades. Systems execute. The wealthy design environments that make success automatic. They reduce friction for good decisions and increase friction for bad ones. They do not trust willpower. They engineer behavior. Systems turn discipline into default. Most people try to change themselves. The wealthy change the structure around them because structure outlasts emotion. This is why routines matter, not as habits of control, but as habits of alignment. When systems are clear, decisions become simple. You no longer debate, you execute. Systems protect energy. They remove choice from repetition. This is why wealthy individuals appear calm. They are not constantly deciding. They are following design. Motivation requires attention. Systems preserve focus. Attention is expensive. The wealthy guard it carefully. They automate what is predictable so they can think about what matters. Most people exhaust themselves trying to stay motivated. The wealthy conserve energy by building processes. Systems scale. Motivation does not. You cannot motivate your way to scale, but you can systemize it. This is why wealth grows even when the wealthy are absent. The system continues. When failure happens, the wealthy do not blame emotion. They audit the system. They ask, where did the structure fail? Not, why did I fail? This removes shame and replaces it with improvement. Systems make progress measurable. They turn growth into feedback. The wealthy respect feedback. They adjust, refine, and continue. No drama, no identity crisis. If you want sustainable success, stop chasing motivation. Design systems that work even when you are tired, distracted, or uninspired. Because wealth is not built on how you feel. It is built on what continues when feeling disappears. And systems, when designed correctly, never stop working. Behavior is not shaped by desire. It is shaped by environment. Most people blame themselves for inconsistency. The wealthy redesign their surroundings. Because willpower is weak, environment is powerful. You do not rise to your intentions, you fall to your defaults. The wealthy understand this deeply. They place themselves where the right behavior is easy and the wrong behavior is difficult. Environment is silent influence. It guides decisions without demanding attention. Most people try to resist temptation. The wealthy remove it. They do not fight distraction. They eliminate exposure. This is why location matters. Not geography, but proximity. Proximity to ideas. Proximity to standards. Proximity to people who think long-term. Environment shapes expectations. If everyone around you thinks short-term, long-term thinking feels uncomfortable. The wealthy choose environments where patience is normal. This is why they invest in rooms, not just assets. Rooms where conversations are elevated. Rooms where thinking is refined. Rooms where standards are higher. Environment sets identity. When you enter a space, your behavior adjusts automatically. The wealthy use this intentionally. They design physical spaces that encourage focus, digital spaces that protect attention, social spaces that reinforce discipline. They do not rely on internal strength. They rely on external design. This is not weakness, it is intelligence, because intelligence conserves energy. Most people try to outwork their environment. The wealthy let environment work for them. Environment reduces friction. Friction shapes behavior. If success feels heavy, the environment is wrong. Change the environment, and behavior follows naturally. This is why wealth appears effortless from the outside. Not because effort is absent, but because resistance has been removed. The wealthy do not ask, how can I push harder? They ask, how can I make this easier to repeat? Because repetition creates momentum. Momentum creates scale. If you want consistent progress, do not force yourself. Design your environment so the right actions happen automatically. Because in the end, your environment will always be stronger than your intentions. Consistency is not loud, it is quiet. Most people seek recognition before results. The wealthy seek results before recognition. Quiet consistency builds power without announcing itself. This is why wealth often appears sudden, because the work was invisible. The wealthy do not chase attention. They build alignment. Attention is noisy. Alignment is silent. Consistency is not intensity. It is reliability. Most people work hard when they feel inspired. The wealthy work steadily regardless of mood. They understand that intensity burns out. Consistency compounds. This is why small actions, repeated daily, outperform dramatic efforts. Quiet consistency removes pressure. There is no rush, only direction. The wealthy do not measure progress emotionally. They measure it structurally. They track systems, not feelings. Most people stop because progress feels slow. The wealthy continue because progress is happening. Consistency creates trust. Trust creates leverage. This is why opportunities come to those who are predictable in excellence. Quiet consistency does not seek validation. It seeks outcome. The wealthy are comfortable working without applause. They understand that applause often arrives late. Consistency builds reputation before recognition. It creates momentum without friction. The wealthy show up even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. This is why discipline feels natural. It is not dramatic. It is routine. Quiet consistency protects focus. It reduces emotional swings. No highs, no crashes, just progress. Most people quit because nothing exciting happens. The wealthy continue because stability is the goal. Consistency turns effort into identity. At some point, you are no longer trying. You are simply acting in alignment with who you are. This is when wealth accelerates, not through force, but through inevitability. Quiet consistency is the advantage few respect, but it is the reason wealth lasts. And once you adopt it, results no longer feel uncertain. They feel inevitable. The greatest divider of outcomes is time horizon. Most people trade the future for comfort today. The wealthy trade comfort today for freedom tomorrow. Short-term pleasure is obvious. Long-term reward is invisible. This is why the choice feels difficult. The wealthy understand that pleasure is temporary, but consequence is permanent. They do not ask, "Oh, what feels good right now?" They ask, "On what will matter in 10 years?" Long-term thinking requires patience. It delays reward. It rejects impulse. This is why it feels unnatural in a world addicted to immediacy. The wealthy are comfortable saying no. No to distraction, no to excess, no to urgency, because every yes has a cost, and they count costs in years, not moments. Short-term pleasure demands emotion. Long-term thinking requires discipline. Emotion seeks relief. Discipline seeks direction. The wealthy are not immune to desire. They are selective with it. They understand that habits are votes for the future. Each decision is a deposit. Each impulse is a withdrawal. This is why small choices matter. What you repeat becomes what you reinforce. Most people believe big wins change lives. The wealthy know small decisions change trajectories. Long-term thinking simplifies choices. If it does not serve the future, it does not deserve the present. This is not restriction, it is clarity. Clarity removes regret. The wealthy enjoy pleasure, but never at the expense of progress. They understand timing. Pleasure after structure feels earned. Pleasure before structure feels empty. This is why wealth is calm. There is no rush, only alignment. Short-term pleasure fades. Long-term position remains. And position, held long enough, creates freedom. If you want a different future, do not fight desire. Redefine what you desire. Because when the future matters more than the moment, discipline stops feeling heavy. It becomes natural. And long-term thinking quietly, inevitably, changes everything. Wealth is not built in moments. It is built in perspective. What you have heard is not motivation. It is orientation. These ideas are not meant to excite you. They are meant to change how you think. Because when thinking changes, behavior follows. And when behavior aligns with time, results become inevitable. If this perspective resonated with you, it means your thinking is already shifting. This channel exists to sharpen that shift. Here we explore wealth not as noise, but as philosophy, not as shortcuts, but as structure. If you want to continue this path, subscribe. Not for content, but for clarity. New perspectives are shared regularly. Quiet, focused, designed for those who think long-term. Thank you for spending your time here, because time used intentionally is the first sign of wealth.